the Albany Weather Channel, the news station, keeps saying Lowville.
Yeah.
And I want to call them up and say, no, you dope, it's not Lowville.
That's right, it's not.
I'm still driving.
I know, it's the color of the day.
Is that beautiful?
Apparently, we want to have a bright cherry color. But you don't live in Plattsburgh.
No, I currently am in Dutchess County, New York, Mid-Hudson region.
Give us a town or two.
Okay, if you're familiar with Kingston,
No.
no, Poughkeepsie.
Yes.
I am about 35 minutes north of Poughkeepsie.
Because Vassar is in Poughkeepsie.
Vassar is in Poughkeepsie.
Okay.
Vassar,
And
yeah.
where's Clarkson University? My favorite boy cousin went to Clarkson.
Clarkson's
Is that
in
up
Potsdam.
there?
Yeah, that's up nearer.
Yeah, so it's about a 4 hour
What's it allowed
drive.
in Syracuse?
It's about a 4 hour
You have to go
drive.
over and get down, you can't go through those mountains.
Okay, as soon as I am sure we have everything, we'll get started.
I do, so it's Rich. All right, folks, let me
Here we go.
introduce ourselves to you. I'm John Grotto from the company McPherson and Jacobson with my colleague Marty. And we have been here for 2 days now getting input from the community. But before we tell you about that, let me just introduce ourselves. I was a kindergarten through 12th grade principal for 5 years, followed by being a superintendent of schools for 23 years. And then I retired from that, and I'm a professor of educational leadership at Virginia Tech, teaching principal preparation courses and teaching superintendent preparation courses. Yeah, at Virginia Tech. So I sometimes go to Washington, D.C. and teach classes there, and sometimes I teach classes online. But either way, it's a fun work to help prepare future principals and superintendents. So that's the experience that I bring you. Marty brings you more.
So I am in my 32nd year as a school superintendent, not in the second years. New York, a little bit in Pennsylvania. And as part of my duties, I actually worked for the New York State Education Department. It was a dual role thing without getting into all the specifics. But in that capacity, I actually did 11 superintendent searches in New York. Which was not for McPherson, a little different process, but some good experience in matching up boards of education, that's what they call them in New York, with respective superintendent applicants. So that's the piece of it that I bring to the mix.
So we met with the Board of School Committee on March 7th and asked them to identify the criteria that they wanted in their next superintendent. And they went through a process of considering various attributes and finally came to a consensus on what they were looking for in the new superintendent. And then since then, we have condensed that to a position description, which we have advertised throughout the nation, in particular at the American Association of School Administrators website and the Education Week website. So people looking for superintendent positions throughout the nation look at those sites. What we're doing now is gathering input from the community. And we have met with 9 groups so far, asking these 4 questions. And we're going to take all this information and compile it, put it on our website, the McPherson and Jacobson website, and also put it on the school district website. I expect I can get that to the school district by Friday or so. And then the point of that is that anyone considering this position will know what makes Manchester an attractive place to live. They'll know what makes the schools attractive for them to move their family to, probably enroll their children in school here. They'll know what issues the new superintendent is going to face, and they'll know what characteristics the community is looking for in the next superintendent. So the people applying for this position will have a very good idea of those important issues. And then April 18th is the application deadline, and Marty and I will then begin to screen candidates against the criteria identified by the Board of School Committee and these attributes that the community has identified. So So that's the process of what we're working on, that's why you're here tonight.
And again, when we're done later this evening, we will have spoken to 10 different focus groups, this being one of them, and almost all of the members of the school committee. So we've gotten a lot of feedback, and John and I had the task of condensing that into a useful kind of document that we can post online. So that's a little bit about what we're doing. And again, the rest of the process, we meet with the school committee again on April 8th, where we report back on these findings and do some other things to refine the search. Again, on May the 6th, where we're going to bringing them semi-finalists, and our particular company has a process by which the semi-finalists do a 5-minute video where they're answering a question so that the school committee gets to see these people. They're going to pare this down, hopefully, to 3 finalists. On May the 15th, there'll be an open community forum where we're going to invite everybody in, and 3 sessions, one for each of the 3 finalists. We're going to get some feedback there. That's going to go to the school committee, who will do the final interviews on May the 16th with each of the finalists, and hopefully come to a decision at that point. So that's the process. And we're shooting to get somebody on board as close to July 1st as we can. That's our target, okay? So that's what we're doing. And yes, please come up. So we're looking for some answers to some questions.
Let's see here.
And the first question is,
That's not it.
the first question is, this is Manchester. Apart from the school for a minute, what makes Manchester a good, maybe great place to live? What are we going to market to these candidates to make them want to come here and live and work in this particular city? And I'll open it up to the floor. Anybody like to start? Yes, sir.
I'll start. So I'm in the real estate business, and we address that number one question daily.
Right.
We get people from around the country to come here, and they want to know, why is it a good place to live? One of the things we talk about is that just geographically, it's well located. It's an hour from the ocean, an hour from the mountains, an hour from Boston.
Not even an hour anymore.
Not even an hour, not even 4 lanes all the way.
Yeah.
We have an airport that's convenient, so you can be working for companies anywhere around the country and be living here. And living in a city that's comprised of neighborhoods. And when I say neighborhoods, I mean them in the old-fashioned manner. There are great, tight-knit communities all around the city, and the neighborhoods are extremely affordable. That's kind of our sales pitch for real estate. Beyond that, I think that we like to tell people that we offer a diverse population, which you don't find traditionally in New England. So you get a New England setting with a kind of an urban feel to it, which is a big plus, and puts us as a competitive location with other New England cities. We talk about the ease of the business community. There's a very low threshold of entry if you want to be involved in arts, culture, business, politics. You basically show up and offer to volunteer, and you're part of that community.
The opportunities are there.
Right.
Got it. And you get all that, John?
Well, I had it up on the
Yeah,
screen,
yeah,
but I couldn't quite hear all of you, so tell me if I got it right or not right.
This, first and foremost, it's, what do you real estate people say? Location, location, location.
Yeah, I've got that.
And that is a major part of it. And ease of entry into business, into government, into cultural activities, whatever you would like to do, it's there for you. Pretty close?
Yeah.
Okay. Who would like to add to that? Yes, ma'am.
On the opportunities note, I think that one thing that I really love about America, as somebody who immigrated over here, is that we are considered the countries of opportunities. I think that Manchester is the city of great opportunities, that we are poised to transform and to grow to be a really amazing opportunities. So I think that if you're the candidate that like things to be just the same, this is how things have been done, maybe you're not the right candidate for us. But I think that for candidates that it's really an eager to be part of transformation of a community, we are that community.
So what I hear you saying is tremendous potential.
Absolutely.
Okay, yes, sir.
I'll just build on that a little bit. When you talk about opportunities in the city, it's amazing because there's things that are happening here with regenerative tissue that Dean Kamen's working on. There are eyes all across the country focused on things that are happening right here in Manchester, New Hampshire.
There's tremendous tech that we have heard about over and over again in our interviews. Yeah. What else? Yes, ma'am.
It's a community that has many caring people in it. There's a lot, and whenever I go into, there's a lot of volunteers helping to support others. I walk into the Elliott Hospital, and there's a million pink jackets being to volunteer. You go with it, we have a lot of services for people who have substance abuse problems. You walk in there, there's a lot of volunteers in there, helping to support them and get them on the right path. So that's something that really means a lot to me.
Great addition. Others? Yes, sir.
I think if you couple all of the comments that have been made so far together, what is extraordinary about it is, Elise is exactly right. There's an awful lot of people in this community who care about the community. And when they have committed to something, Manchester has accomplished what its people commit to with excellence. So you go back 30 years and the people got together and said, we need a new airport, and that became the #1 small airport in the country. We have a homegrown university that is now the 5th largest online university in the country. We have technologies in our mill yard that are absolutely world-class and leading the way with new and innovative technologies. We are now in a place where we're applying that same determination to our schools, and that's the message your candidates need to know.
Okay, we're going to get to that in a minute. But as far as the community goes, let's not leave that yet. Okay, anyone like to add?
I'll just add to what's already been said, which is true about Manchester. What all this means is that you have a community here that's the largest in the state. It's the professional center of the state. It has, I think, the most access to higher education in the state.
I think 6 institutions of higher
institutions.
education.
It's bringing young people to work on these industries that we're developing in the mill yard. The importance of this position is to bring the educational system in the city, the public educational system, to the level that those young people who are moving into this community think this is a good place to settle and raise a family.
Got it.
That's the important issue.
Got it. Anyone else like to add?
Just one little word.
Yes.
Just congratulations to Gosler Park Elementary School. They just were recognized as the #1 leadership school, and they are not in the top neighborhood. But congratulations to that staff. They've really worked hard to come way up.
What was the name of that school?
Gosler, G-O-S-S-L-E-R,
G-O-S-S-L-E-R.
Park
Park.
Elementary.
That's pretty amazing.
Yep.
And what was it recognized as?
#1 school for teaching leadership skills.
The Leader in Me program.
Anything else before we leave
In
community?
the
Yes,
state of New
sir.
Hampshire.
Go even smaller than that, because I'm thinking there's a book out about the 11 important things that make a city a great city, and we've touched on most of them, which Manchester has, but a couple that we've missed are, we have a world-class museum, the Curry Museum.
Cultural
Yes.
museum.
Thank you.
We have an active and thriving theater, the Palace Theater.
Theater.
Add to that with a new, smaller venue. And the other thing that people who are looking for good communities put on their list are microbreweries. And we have.
You have a microbrewery?
We have 2 or 3, I think. I know of 2.
4.
Yeah.
Well, listen, that's a thriving industry, not only in New England, but also in New York. That's what people who are doing the tourist thing, they want to see that, and that's good. We haven't heard that one before. Anything else on the community?
This is sort of minutia, but we have many restaurants which draw people from the outside. We have lots of parks throughout the city
Okay.
and sports fields.
The baseball as well as the hockey
Oh, yes, and soccer
and soccer.
and football.
And
I don't know.
football.
And the Nordic ski team was just, their coach was just outside waiting. But, so we have all sorts of sports represented and places available.
And these are all good things that we can use in our marketing effort to attract the best possible candidates.
We have a pretty good health system.
We have a good healthcare system. I think you have 2 hospitals in the city, correct?
3.
3 hospitals. That's, for a city this size, that's pretty decent. Okay, so let's move away from the
No, I
community.
have one more.
Yes?
We have a very small ski hill here,
Oh.
which has chairlifts.
Their own
It's little, but it's very well run. It's been great for about the last 8 years. And my children, my daughters, live in Massachusetts, and they've tried lots of places. They said the first lessons is the best place.
Got it.
It's a very
So-
small ski hill.
Ski hill.
It's right, literally
It
in the
actually
city.
has 6 trails now.
It's right in the middle of the city.
How cool.
McIntyre's
You mean it snows here once in a while?
It does.
Okay.
They actually make their own.
I had to check that out. So,
Did we
okay,
mention the Civic Center?
You guys have told us
Yep.
stuff we have not heard before.
the Civic Center,
Sports
we got that, and the baseball stadium. The first night I stayed here, I was in the hotel right across the street from the baseball park, so I got a good chance to take a look at that. But it's a little early for that. You could say it's a little late. So, okay, we think, and by the way, many of these things we got from others, but that's good, because it just kind of confirms what we're hearing. So, moving away from the community, now, we're going to market the school district, and we'll get to the challenges in a minute, okay? But we want to step with the best first foot forward. What makes this school district one that a superintendent's going to want to come to? What makes it good, maybe even good moving toward great? So I'll open it up, and the floor is open. You folks are not shy, I know that. Yes, sir?
I'll go first again. If there's a superintendent who's looking for a challenge, there's an opportunity here that doesn't come around that often. The district is ripe for change. It's open to all different kinds of proposals, and I think that someone coming into Manchester at this point would have a clean slate to design a 2020 school district.
Did you get all that? Potential for change, and the district is right to be moved forward. I think that's what I was hearing.
Right.
What else is, do we want to say to people coming in? That's important.
I also want to say, we don't just want somebody great to come here. We want them to commit to stay.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because when we met with the search committee, one of the things that came up as a top 5 characteristic was commitment to at least 5 years. At least 5 years. And in fact, John was talking about the fact that the posting for this position is already on national websites. That is highlighted, that the school committee is interested in someone who is willing to commit to the district for at least 5 years. So that speaks to your point loud and clear. What else?
We have a great many teachers who are truly dedicated to their students.
Dedicated teaching staff.
They'd be somewhere else otherwise. They care about their kids. And I think it's true about our principals. We have a great many principals that are doing a great job. I can't say all of them because I haven't been to all the schools. I'm not trying to leave anyone out. But we've got lots of really good people.
Well, as a matter of fact, we had a principals focus group here a little earlier, and we had 18 principals and assistant principals show up. And I mean,
Thank you.
they're busy, but it was a nice group and a lot of great feedback. Okay? What else? Yes, ma'am.
I actually think there's already been step 1, 2, and 3 already started to improve the school system. And that's what I like. I went to Leslie Watts. She led some redistricting meetings around the city. And first of all, the fact that they went out to local schools around town so that people from that local community would come together and come to it was fantastic. That wasn't done much before. And second of all, some of the ideas were really excellent. They really were. We do need to change it up a little. We have some empty schools, some overflowing, whatever. But those steps were started, and they did a super job presenting all their ideas.
So progress has been made. Now the momentum has to be continued.
Exactly.
That's really what I hear you
Yeah.
saying. Yes.
Providing the fact that our school district is significantly under-resourced, I think that our schools, our teachers, our principals are very creative and very, very smart about being open-minded about how to bring more resources to their students and to create new opportunities. So I think our school districts are full of people that are creative and open-minded.
Okay. And what I hear you also saying is that the staff is pretty skilled at doing more with less.
Yes, they're resourceful.
But we'd like to have them have more.
And we're going to get to the challenges in a minute, so don't get ahead of me. Yes, sir.
To what extent are you aware of the work that Manchester Power has been doing for the past year? Have you been briefed on that at all?
Some, but again, we're not the people who are going to come in here as the superintendent. One of the things that we're definitely going to be saying to candidates is that this is a group that you have to have early contact with, find out what's being done, and be prepared to work with to move the thing forward.
Yeah, I think the message is more fundamental and more important than that.
Okay.
I think, as you said a minute ago, the new superintendent coming in, just as Will said.
Could you talk a little louder, please?
Sure. We would hope for someone who would be an enthusiastic innovator as well, and a partner with what Manchester Proud and the community are doing. But the critical message is that this is a community that started more than a year ago to develop this process of community engagement in our schools. So we are poised to have just the right partner to join the community in creating this new future for our schools and our kids. So the hard work of bringing the community together around our schools will have not been done, but been well underway by the time this person comes here. And I would like to think that that would be an attractive opportunity for them.
Take a look at what I just wrote. Tell me if I've got it right.
The attractive part of it is that this was community initiated, not school initiated, which you see kind of all the time. But the thing that struck me is that this is something that was grassroots from the community. And that's something we're definitely going to emphasize in conversations with our candidates.
You can also let them know that it's a broad-based support. There's over 100 businesses and organizations that are behind this movement, and there's literally thousands of residents that are already committed.
Say that again?
Hundreds
There
of
have been over
businesses.
100 businesses and organizations that have committed in some way to this, to the Manchester Proud initiative, either financially or supporting the schools or supporting the movement.
That's impressive.
And over 2,000, Barry, would you say?
think
People
that's
that
fair, who have-
volunteered, showed up for meetings, are paying attention to what's going on, and are ready to support some individual or initiative that improves the schools.
We have 6 active work groups with nearly 300 people involved collectively in the work groups.
6 active, what you said?
We call them work
groups.
groups because
Okay.
it's a community-based movement. So we have work groups that have done everything from canvassing to partnering with our strategic planner to communications, celebrations, fundraising, and we have several hundred of our residents involved in that work. So it's I think it is a unique and comprehensive community initiative.
And we will definitely highlight that as being a major plus to somebody coming in. They've got a built-in support system, is what it amounts to. And by the way, in case, and I don't want to forget, these 4 questions will be in an online survey that will be up on the website, the school website, tomorrow. And it'll be up there for 2 weeks. And the idea is for people who busy, couldn't make it to the meeting, but would like to give their feedback on these 4 issues, they can do so, and that will be part of the compilation. Okay.
Can
Can
we on
I-
the school department website, sorry?
Can I build, sorry, I just want to build on Barry's note, and I was looking at your note here. I think that maybe the words that we want on there, it's community-based movement, because it kind of, and it not just focused on supporting our school, but I think that it's creating the communities of people that really value public education and stand ready to do our parts in supporting the leaders and our students to succeed.
Very good.
I just want to know, you said this
Is
is
it
on the
accurate
school
now?
department website?
Take a look at whatever.
On the school district website, it will be up tomorrow
Okay,
sometime.
because I have 4 friends who definitely would come tonight if they hadn't had
And
a
it'll be
conflict.
there, and we'd love to have them participate. Okay?
So the beauty is this new superintendent would not be starting slow. There's so much momentum in the community that it's going to be a lot of opportunity for him to succeed immediately.
Built-in support, basically, is what it boils down to. What else about the school district do you want us to highlight? Okay.
You got the diversity. issue,
Diversity,
right?
I think, is-
Diversity, yeah, we've heard that, and that's absolutely an asset. Absolutely an asset, diversity in the community, but also diversity in the school population, both. All right, no school district is perfect. I know that comes as a shock, but there are challenges, there are issues, there are things that have to be addressed, here like everywhere. So give me the first one. My lead player.
I'm going to think this through a little bit because I want to be gracious in my response.
Here we go.
Okay,
I'll
he's
take it on
working
inside.
on.
I'll pick up the ball for
You
you.
do it fun.
So we're talking about diversity as wonderful things about our community. I think on the flip side, it also among our challenge because we are growing to become more and more diverse. But we are going through the process of change. So I think that change is hard for everyone.
It's a challenge, there's no question. The statistic that I saw was that about 20% of the adult population in Manchester is minority. But of the student population, we're almost to the point where we are a minority-majority student population. So you put those 2 things together, and it's clear that the community adults don't necessarily reflect the same makeup as
That's not
our
right.
student body.
No, it's about 40%
About
40%,
44%.
the student body.
of the student body.
Well, yeah, I'm saying approaching.
No, I was just reading his text. He had 80%.
Oh, okay.
But the
I'm glad
contrast,
you're
A typo.
the contrast is that across our state, it's about only 7% of our student bodies are minority
Yeah.
versus 40% in
Yeah.
our community. So that is also making our specific Manchester community very unique within our own state.
But I see that as an asset. I don't see that as a challenge.
Well, hand in hand with what you're saying, and it is part of the challenge, is the
Yeah.
redistricting attempt that's been made up to this point. That has to be thought through and completed in a way that takes into account the fact that the diversity of the state is quite broad.
What do you think is the number one thing we heard from almost every group as far as the greatest challenge for the superintendent coming in?
Give you a hint.
Funding?
Resources.
Underfunding.
Underfunded.
Yeah.
Underfunding of the school district. And that was, I mean, that had to be as clear as a bell. And, you know what the issues are. The state cutbacks, the tax cap, the reliance on the property tax, all of that stuff rolled in. Yeah. And I think I was told that $50 million would be needed to bring the per pupil expenditure up to the statewide average. Now, somebody I think told me that. So that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't want to shock anybody, but that's a lot of money. And clearly, yeah.
There's one good Powerball ticket.
Did we ever have anything like a foundation, Barry?
Has the district? No.
There have been attempts to start one, but it's never gotten off the ground.
Okay, well,
And, that's interesting, because that's a question we asked. And at least in our experience, many districts have started foundations, 501c3s,
Yeah.
not-for-profit, where people could make charitable contributions to the foundation. Typically, it's a separate board, a foundation board, and then they make expenditures in keeping with the foundation bylaws. Just as an aside, it may be something down the road that somebody wants to look at. Other challenges, we talked about underfunding. Am I back to you?
Back to the challenges. I think that our schools, there are a couple of examples in the district of real success in innovation. There are Parker Varney School and the MST High School. And both of those things share something. They're different from the conventionalness of the rest of the district. Our facilities are very conventional, our classrooms are conventional, our method of teaching is conventional. There's not much variety in the district. And we know today that no two kids learn the same way. We also know that we're trying to educate kids for jobs that don't even exist yet. Our elementary kids are going to be in the workforce with careers that we can't even imagine. So it's time for someone to take a look at how we train for that and how we build in the ability to adapt to that, because it's moving at incredible speed. So we need
Do
adaptability.
I have the name of that school, right?
I think we're looking at
You got it.
vision for changes needed for the future
That's a skill of quality.
in education.
Okay?
I'm trying to paraphrase.
Yeah, just someone that can,
What other challenges?
Well, we still didn't finish the redistricting.
Yeah.
Really, even
So
did we begin it? Right.
there, obviously,
The chairman of the
there's,
school was right there.
what we were hearing from others, and I think the point that you're getting to, there's a need for facilities and students to better match each other. Would that be a fair statement? And it may be redistricting, it may be whatever, moving grade levels or whatever you have to do. But you have facilities here, you have students here, and the matches are not necessarily accurate. And that's a good challenge. Anything else on the challenge center?
We've got growing poverty in the community.
Okay, growing poverty. The statistic that we got was 60% free and reduced lunch now, up from 18% not too many years ago. And certainly that's the best indicator for poverty that we have.
When we talk about diversity, we don't just mean ethnic diversity or racial diversity.
Right.
Economic diversity.
Economic diversity, yes.
And while those are a benefit to students in the classroom, they also present teaching challenges that we are not fully prepared for, I don't think, because for years, like you just said, we were 18%, all of a sudden we're 60. We used to be probably 10% non-white students, we're now 40, 45%. So I think the change is happening faster than we've accommodated.
Rapid change and the challenge of having to accommodate for those changes. Good. Yes, sir.
Recruiting and retaining teachers, top quality teachers.
Recruiting and
I
retaining.
suspect that's a nationwide
Top quality
crisis that's
teachers.
looming, but
Well, and it gets back to that funding thing. It's dollars and cents. If you want to attract talent, good, bad, or indifferent, but that's what you have to do. Yes.
And in a diverse school district, something in the range of 99% of our teachers are white. We need many more people with diverse backgrounds.
Recruitment of
with our kids.
minority staff. And that's a very good point. Kids have a comfort level with seeing somebody in front of the class that looks like them. That there's something to be said for that. Anything else on the challenges side? Yes.
I think that with the challenge that we have faced in terms of frequent turnover of our superintendent, our principal end up having to kind of work more independently, and I think that it put us in the place where we're missing opportunity for greater collaborations and working together as a larger unit. So that's the challenge.
I think so. I think, and we'll sum that up and say lack of stability at the top has resulted in lack of cohesion for the organization.
Missing out on opportunity to collaborate, which I
Yep.
think is important.
Good?
well, if you expand that picture, I think the biggest challenge and the one that is
Among the principals.
most aspirational for many
Did you say among the principals?
is how do we bring the community to the point of having a shared set
Right.
of values and vision around our public schools? That's when we as a community all share a vision and value for what we expect our schools to be, that's when we will have accomplished our mission. And that's, I think all these things are part of that.
Not quite there.
Not quite there yet, and the turnover in leadership has certainly contributed to that. The fact that with the turnover, no single leader has had the time to gain traction for a vision or a plan, and so consequently we haven't had one. And then one of the outcomes of that is that most of the schools tend to operate as individual little fiefdoms because they have to get their job done in the absence of overall leadership within the district.
And I think that tags on to what the young lady was saying. Yeah. And, clearly the people in your organization have a vision. Now, the challenge is going to be, the challenge is going to be how to make that community work.
Well, I would say that a little bit differently.
Okay?
We're taking the time to to develop that vision as a community.
Okay.
So it's not a small group of people who are creating a vision and then trying to convince everyone it's the right one. We are, day by day, week by week, month by month, building a vision as a community. Our belief being that's the only way it will be sustainable. It will be enduring if we can change the culture of the city.
Fair enough. All right. So if I'm building the perfect superintendent for Manchester, all right, the bionic superintendent. So what qualities?
Barry, do I have that right?
skills-
Take a look at what I wrote here.
Did you get it?
Well, I think so. I'm asking Barry.
Yeah, the building a shared vision and values as they relate to our public schools by the community.
Okay, so we're building the perfect superintendent. Qualities, characteristics, skills. We've already said we want stability. We want somebody who's going to stay. We've already said the person needs to be a visionary to lead the school district into the future. What other characteristics would you like to share with us?
I think this person, whoever it is, needs to be very confident in his or her vision of what has to happen in New Hampshire, or particularly in Manchester, and be very thick-skinned about this. That person has to
Thick-skinned is
be,
good.
has to be perceptive, has to listen, but understand that a lot is going to be thrown against the wall based on what he or she presents, and stand by those principles. Look at the community and find the support mechanisms that are there to help that person and make that message sound, but to stay focused and not get upset with the way things happen in Manchester sometimes.
Not get distracted by all this stuff. I
Can I-
think I heard the words rhino skin.
That too.
That would be
At one
good.
point
That would be
This
good.
morning. I
Because you
think
know,
I
change is
remember
hard
that.
for lots of people.
It is.
And this redistricting thing, I heard so many complaints about it when it first came up, and so many criticisms of Dr. Vargas, our superintendent, that I thought, I hope the heck he has thick skin.
And follow through.
So
What other
that
things-
also means being a good communicator to explain the rationale
A
for
communicator
decisions.
and a good people person, too.
Yes.
But you have to always come back to the message that you're trying to get through, regardless of what people are saying about that message. If it's the right thing for the community to do, stand by it.
Yes, ma'am.
Somebody with proven track record of ability to create team.
Okay, proven track record with the ability to create teams and teams.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
And I think that to add is, I feel that it takes a teamwork to transform and create substantial change. And when I'm talking about team, I just want to be clear that it's not a team of school district superintendent leadership. I'm talking about a team with a larger T that has a sense of trust, common visions and goals, shared purpose, ability to communicate well among what needed in a team setting.
Got it.
I would take what Pon just said and underscore.
Okay.
I didn't hear anything.
This-
Underscore what was just said.
I think
Be able to
that's-
create a sense of
Star,
trust.
bolded.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to?
So it's like ability to create team, and because teams required to make transformational change, and when I'm talking about team, I'm talking about large and small teams that including our whole entire community, ability to create trust, communicate, building common goals and common vision.
Okay, I think we got it. What other qualities?
Vision.
I would say innovator,
John.
which I think we had kind of as a visionary, but I think someone who is an innovator.
Innovator.
And stylistically, we haven't really talked about this, but so I think that a person's character is very important in how they operate, and I think that someone should have the traits of grace and courtesy, because my experience has been that if the leader of an organization has grace and courtesy, it filters down. And everyone because they're going to need a certain level of political finesse, because they're not dealing just, there's many stakeholders, and they're going to have to be able to work with all different opinions, all different groups, and they have to do it in a manner that they'll be treated the same way.
In a manner what?
In a manner that will allow them to be treated the same way that they're
Okay.
treating other people.
Right, got it.
So that grace and courtesy is the
Grace
key
and
words.
courtesy are the two things we're highlighting. What other characteristics? The floor is still open.
I said people person, but we were all kind of talking at the same time, so that's a
People person.
general statement.
Well, you have to, listen, you have to like people in this job. You have to like being with people. That's part of the deal. And if you don't, okay, do something else. You also have to like people in your job too. What else?
Sorry, I feel like I have a lot to say here. Somebody who is an absolute passionate learner,
Okay.
that means tremendous ability to hear, the desire to learn, and somebody that can create environments that bring others people desire to share forward in the most authentic and true ways.
Passionate learner. And we've heard that.
And to create an environment to do what?
The safe environment that would enhance the ability to learn.
Okay.
Anyone else? Floor is open. So let me ask you this. Now, we got a lot of stuff. Is there anything else you would like us to know before we close this thing? Because this is great. This has been really rich in response. I think we've got a little different perspective from what we've had from other groups, but I think it's a very valid community perspective, and that's what has me a little excited. Are we good? Good? Listen, thank you very much. I know you're all busy people. We're gonna do this, and we're gonna get candidates that will be a fit for Manchester. That's our job. And you know what? There are 13,600 kids here in Manchester who deserve nothing less. And so that's why we do what we do. So thank you again.
Quick question, how broad a net are you spreading?
Well, we have 100 consultants nationwide, California to the East Coast. This is going out to all of them. The AASA publication, and it's already on the website.
American Association of
Schools, yeah. And that's read by superintendents in all 50 states. And Education Week online, and again, that's a national publication. So we're casting a broad net. We're also going to state school boards, and superintendent organizations who will put this out for us. So we have a regional view, but also a countrywide view. Okay? Thank you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. You guys are great. Thank you. Good job. Thank you very much.